Hello dear students, welcome to Computer Science Department. So in the last class we have discussed the different components of motherboard. In that some of the components we already discussed like processor, BIOS, CMOS, slots, disk controller, input output ports and interfaces we have discussed. Yes, apart from those components we have one more component, that is, and the most important component also, that is nothing but bus. So this is the last component we are discussing in this chapter, yes, related to motherboard. Yes, so there are so many other components also available. In that we are discussing here the bus. So what do you mean by bus? Yes, the word bus is a common word. Yes, now bus ante normal ನೋಡಿ KSRTC bus or private buses. So ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದ ಆ ಬಸ್? Yes, ಬಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದ? It carry peoples. Yes, ಜನನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ದಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. It's the job of bus. Is it right? So ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ನೀವು ಹತ್ತೇನೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ದಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸಿಗೆ ರೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತದೆ. So it carries. What they carry? It carry peoples. The buses, the ordinary bus or KSRTC bus or any private buses. That is the job of bus. Bus edike use ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? To carry peoples from one place to another. In similar way, in computer system also we are using buses. So bus means here KSRTC bus or private bus ಯಾವುದೇನು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So instead of that we are using some wires here. Now normally if you open that CPU cabinet, that CPU box or CPU cabinet, we are getting some cables like this. Itara belt, it looks like a belt. Yes, something like this. It looks like this. White color belt, it looks like this. Yes, white color belt. So that belt is normally nothing but we called it a bus. Is it clear? So bus. So here we are discussing that bus here. So the bus is nothing but what it is, this white color belt. It looks like belt, actually it is not belt. That only we are discussing. Assume that where is bus? This is bus. So when you open that CPU cabinet, you see different this type of cables. When a cable and then it looks like a belt actually. Yes, itara strip irtade. Yes, what it is? So this is nothing but it contains some wires internally. Yes, so normally this we called it as bus. What it is? It is a collection of parallel wires. Remember what it is? It is a collection of parallel wires. Means this belt contains different wires and the wires are in parallelly. For example, so just I will draw here. See here, this is a one cable. This is another cable. This is another cable. This is another cable like this. And we are. This is a cover, external cover. Yes. This is a cover. So it looks like this belt. But internally, what is there? There are so many wires. How they are arranged? Parallelly. Is it clear? This is a bus. It is what it is. It is a collection of parallel wires. Different wires, the collection of wires, how they are arranged in parallelly. And yadike use ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ? Collection of parallel wires that form a pathway. It acts as a pathway to carry ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಏನನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ? Carry address, data and control signal. Yes, this bus acts as a to carry data, address as well as control signal. Normally ordinary bus ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? It carry peoples, it carries some luggages, etc. In its similar way, in computer system also we are using these cables. The bundle of cable we called it as bus. This is a bus. This is a bus. This bus contains different wires internally. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ wires cables. So why we are using this cable? It acts as a pathway. It acts as a pathway to carry. What they carry? Data it will carry, address it will carry, as well as the control signal. Is it right? So we know that in computer there are so many memories. Each memory has its own address. Suppose I tell ಈ ಡೇಟಾನ ಇಂತಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅದು ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಡೇಟಾ, ಅದು ಡೇಟಾ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕ್ಯಾರಿಡ್ ಬೈ ದಿಸ್ buses. Is it clear? So what do you mean by bus? It is a collection of parallel wires. Yes, now we notice that inside this CPU cabinet we are seeing this kind of buses. Means it normally looks like belts, white color belts tara kantada, but it is a bus. What it contains? Internally there are so many wires. There are so many wires, all are in parallel. Is it clear? So it is a collection of parallel wires. This bus is a collection of parallel wires that forms a pathway. Pathway means just like ಅದು ಹಾದಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡೋದಂತೆ. It is a pathway to carry. ಏನನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ? Address they can carry, data it will carry, as well as the control signals. Everything is carried by these buses. This is one of the important component on the motherboard. Is it clear? So next we will discuss some of the features of buses. What are the features here? So normally it is a set of wires. We know that. Just we discuss, it is a collection of wires only. So it is a set of wires, and each carry one bit of data. For example, there are 4 wires internally. Each 4 wires can carry 1 bit of a data at a time. If there are 3 cables, each cable can carry 1 bit of a data. 1 bit of a data. That's why it is a set of wires, and each wire carry what they carry? 1 bit of data. Each carry 1 bit of a data. The second one, the bus width. The width of this bus. What is the width of this bus? What is the width of this bus? How to come to know that? It is nothing but defined by the number of wires in that bus. Is it clear? The number of wires present in that bus is nothing but width of the bus. Suppose there are 3 cables, there are 3 wires in this bus, then we say that the width of this bus is 3, because it contains 3 wires inside this bus. Suppose the width of this bus is 7. The width of this bus is 7. Why it is 7? Because here there are 7 cables, there are 7 wires. That's why the width is 7. Is it clear? Suppose here there are 4 wires. There are 4 wires internally. In this bus contains 4 wires. So the width is 4. The width of this bus is 4. Like this. So the width, how we can find out? The number of wires present in that bus is nothing but width of a bus. Is it clear? So this is some introduction about what you mean by bus and the features of bus. Next, there are 2 types of buses here. Outside also there are different types of bus. KSRTC bus or private buses, like that. Similar way, here also there are different buses. What are those bus? Internal and external bus. Internal bus and external. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೂಟ್ ಬಸ್. ಅಗೇನ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 2 ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಸ್. ಒಂದು ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ KSRTC ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ, ಒಂದು ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೂಟ್ ಬಸ್. ದೆನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೂಟ್ ಬಸ್? ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಒನ್ ರೇಂಜ್, ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ತಾಲೂಕ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಹೋಗಿ ಬರುವಂತದ್ದು, ಅಥವಾ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಿಟಿ ಅಡ್ಡಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ದೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್. ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೂಟ್ ಬಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್, ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ, ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗುದು. ದೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೂಟ್ ಬಸ್. ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೂಟ್ ಬಸ್ಸಸ್. ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 2 ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಸ್. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್, ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಏರಿಯಾ. ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಏರಿಯಾ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಿಟಿ ಒಳಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು, ಧಾರವಾಡ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ಗಳು. ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಿಟಿ, ಆ ಸಿಟಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Those are called local bus or city buses. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಬಸ್, ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೂಟ್ ಬಸ್ಸಸ್, ಅದು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. Similarly, here also there are two types of bus, internal bus and external bus. ಏನು ಹಂಗಾದ್ರೆ internal and external? So let us discuss one by one. The internal means the bus which connects major components. The bus which connects major components like processor, memory, input, output, etc. Means within the system. Yes, it's also called as system bus. This internal bus we call it as system bus. Means here within that CPU cabinet, meaning within the motherboard, we are using some wires or some buses. Those buses we called it as internal bus. Yes, which connects the major components. Major component means important components like processor to memory, then processor to input output. There are some internally bus. Allindale irtade small buses we are using. Those all bus we call it as internal bus. It is also called as system bus because within that system. Here system means within that board, motherboard. Assume that motherboard. Yes, assume that there is a motherboard. A motherboard ಒಳಗಡೆನೆ data transfer ಆಗಬೇಕು one place to another. Yes, if you want to transfer the data. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ again we are using bus. So ಅಷ್ಟೊಳಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ movement ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Just like a local bus ಇದೆ. The internal bus, it looks like a local bus. I mean, you have some restricted area. ಆ ಮದರ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ವಿತಿನ್ ಸಿಟಿ ಮಾತ್ರ. there is a local bus is nothing but here internal bus. Yes, ನಾವು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಏನು ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಸ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ, is similar to internal bus. Local bus within taluk or within city. So here internal bus means within motherboard. Within motherboard, if you want to transfer data, we are using what type of bus? Internal bus. That's why we call it a system bus. Inside the system only. The second one, external bus. The second one is external bus. So external means long route bus. Means a district bit, taluk bit ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗೋದು, district bit ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಅಥವಾ state, out of state ಹೋಗೋದು, outside. So those are called external bus. So external bus again it connects the different external devices. It connects different external devices means ಇನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಮೌಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಾ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಎಸ್, ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಾ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ನಾ ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಏನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಬಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್, ಈ ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್ ದಿಂದ ಡೇಟಾನ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಬಸ್. ಮೌಸ್ ದಿಂದ ಡೇಟಾ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಬಸ್ಸಸ್. ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಷನ್ ಬಸ್. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಬಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್, ಈಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತನಕ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕದು, ಈಗ ಯೂಸರ್ ತನಕ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸರ್ ತನಕ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. That's why this external bus act as a expansion bus. Is it clear? So this is internal bus and this is external bus. Internal bus means within motherboard, within a system. If you want to transfer data, we are using internal bus. System in the ಹೊರಗಡೆ, ಅದು ಕೀಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಮೌಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, some scanner, some external devices, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಡೇಟಾ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. There we are using external buses. Is it clear? So next, again there is internal bus. Internal bus or system bus again contains three different kinds of buses. The internal bus, this internal bus or system bus contains again three types of bus. What are those? Data bus, address bus and control bus. Data bus, address bus and control bus. So bus, we know that it carries something. The bus, what purpose we are using? It carry some data or whatever from one place to another. This is the job of bus. The word it says that data bus. Yes, data bus ಏನನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? It carries data from one place to another. Yes, it provides pathway. The data bus ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? It provides one pathway for what purpose? To transfer data. To transfer data between CPU and memory. CPU and memory. Alena data transfer agbeku. The data, if you want to transfer in between CPU and memory. Why there is CPU and memory? Because everything is processed in CPU only and the data is stored in memory only. So our memory in the data CPU ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, CPU in the process ಆಗಿ again memory ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. So the data transfer between CPU and memory takes place with the help of data bus. The data bus carries the data from where to where? CPU to memory, memory to CPU. That's why it provides pathway to transfer data between CPU and memory. And the second one, address bus. Similar to this, again it is a bus only. This bus carry data, this bus carry addresses. Suppose I want to store any data. After processing, I want to store data. Where I want to store? In memory. In memory ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? We require some address. So that address is carried by this address bus. This address bus ಕೆಲಸ ಏನು? It carries only the address. Yes, there are the data bus ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? It carries data. Address bus carry only addresses. Where it should be stored? The address. Bus means there are different wires. Assume that this is a bus and it contains 3 wires. The first wire is data bus, address bus and control bus. This bus carry the data, for example 10. This bus contains address where it should be stored, for example 1012, any address where this data should be stored. The address is stored by in this bus, the address bus. So CPU and RAM, yeah, the communication between CPU and RAM, the data or the address ellinda ellige, CPU and RAM, CPU to RAM, like this. Then the third one is control bus. So control bus, the word itself says the control. It controls what? They controls data bus as well as address bus. This bus controls data bus as well as address bus, controlled by this control bus. Is it clear? Controls data and address bus. Is it clear? So these are the 3 kinds of buses when we come to the internal or system bus. In system bus, again there are 3 different kinds. Those are data bus, address bus and control bus. Data bus means it carries the data from CPU to memory. Address bus carry address CPU to memory or RAM. Control bus, it controls both data bus as well as address bus. Is it clear? So these are some of the introduction about buses here. Is it clear? So what do you mean by bus? It is nothing but, it looks like this strip. It contains what? It's a collection of parallel wires. Now ಹೊರಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ it looks like a belt, but ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನಿರ್ತದೆ? There are so many wires. That's why it's a collection of wires. It form a pathway. Means it form a pathway to carry what they carry? Data, address as well as signals or control signals. Then we discuss some of the features here. In feature, so what it says? There is a set of wires and each wire can carry 1 bit of data. Then the width of the bus is measured how? The number of wires present in that bus. Then there are 2 types of bus, internal bus and external bus. This internal bus is also called as system bus. It is also called as system bus. So it connects the major components like processor, CPU or memory. Means within that board, within motherboard, the data is transferred here. In external bus means outside, the external devices what we are using. There we are using external buses. Then when we come to system bus, again there are 3 kinds: the data bus, address bus and control bus. The data bus transfers data, address bus transfer addresses, means it carry addresses, it carries data, and the control bus controls both the buses. So these are some introduction about bus. The remaining part we discuss in the next class. Okay, thank you.